What is going on, everybody? Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. Hold on. I gotta start this over. This again. All right. All right, there we go. I started again. Hello, everybody. Let me make sure that you can hear me okay. I forgot to start up my sound program. I'm using this new Restream program tonight. So I'm going to be streaming on YouTube, Twitch, my private Facebook, and into the Misfits of Tabletop Misfits group, Facebook group. And so I'm going to have to work out all these bugs. I'm going to be messing up stuff. You're going to have to just bear with it for right now. So let me know if you can hear me okay, if it looks okay, all that kind of good stuff. If there's any type of weird sound, let me know. Thank you. All right, let me see if I can get some of the stuff going again, because I've got to like go back and check and see if everything's working right. Good stuff. If there's any type of weird sound, yeah, there we go. Let me know. Thank you. All right, it looks like it's going okay. So sorry, I'll get this out right here. All right. I'll get all these bugs worked out eventually, guys. All right, we're back with another edition of Logician Tim Learns, where you get to watch me go from a total gaming newbie to a more informed gaming newbie. How about that? Yeah, and tonight, kind of a streaming newbie. This is my first time streaming on Twitch, and one of my first times streaming on YouTube. I did a little bit a while back with some like video games and stuff, but tonight I'm going to be streaming some more of this Numenera. And so what we're going to be going over tonight is the character creation. So let me know if I've got chat, like a chat window. All right, Joe says, hello, sounds good, Tim. What is up, Joe and Angela, if you're watching? I've got a new chat window kind of popped up. It's supposed to like give me all the chats from Twitch and everywhere. So Joe on Facebook, thank you so much. So hopefully this chat system works and it tells me what everybody's saying and where they're saying it from. But you know how technology is, man. It's crazy. So yeah, tonight we're going over the Numenera character creation. And I'm kind of excited about this game. It is really, really cool. I've been going over it since Monday, and it's pretty neat. Tonight we're going to be talking about like your stats, the effort, the types of classes, what they call character types, equipment, all types of fun stuff here. But first, before we kind of get into the actual character creation part, we have to kind of understand what character stats are and what they call the stat components are, because this is going to help you decide what type of character that you want to make. And every character has three main stats that their abilities derive from. And that is might, speed, and intellect. So you remember like in a lot of games you have things like, strength and charisma and intelligence and agility and dexterity, all these different things. Well, they just pull it down to three in Numenera, and that is might, speed, and intellect. And so might, you can think of might as kind of like your strength/health, okay? And it defines kind of how strong and durable you are. Things like strength and endurance, constitution, hardiness, your physical prowess, those are all kind of folded under this might stat. And everything from like knocking down doors to resisting disease, how much damage your character is going to take, all of those type of things are going to be governed by this might stat, okay? So then the second one is speed. And so you can think of speed, you have to lump in kind of agility with speed as well, okay? Because speed describes like how fast and how physically coordinated your character is. So things like, quickness, like how fast you move, and, like movement speed, your dexterity, your reflexes, all those types of things fall under this speed stat. Also things such as like dodging attacks, sneaking around quietly, throwing stuff accurately, those are all determined by your speed stat. So if you're looking to make like a nimble or a sneaky character, or those that want to specialize like in a ranged combat, then you're going to be interested in increasing that speed stat, okay? Now, the last one is intellect. And intellect combines, so you can kind of lump intellect with personality, almost with charisma, okay? Like you would in other games. And because it really is like intelligence and charisma. Intellect determines how smart, knowledgeable, and how likable your character is. And it includes like intelligence, wisdom, charisma, your education, your wit, your willpower, your charm, those type of things all fall underneath this intellect stat. And so if you're looking to make a character who is specialized in communicating effectively, like becoming a scholar or, wielding the Numenera, all those really cool devices that kind of specializes in that, then you should really stress your intellect stat in this game. So later on, when you pick your character type, which is kind of like your class, these three stats are pretty much filled in for you some of the way, and then they give you extra points to kind of put in however you want to. But your starting character type, is going to fill in most of that for you, and they give you like 6 or 8, depending on which type of character type that you choose, that you can kind of do whatever you want with to kind of finish out your character. So now each of these 3 stats have 2 components to them, and these are called your pool, like swimming pool, and edge. Okay, like your the edge of a blade, right? So your pool and your edge, and the pool represents your raw kind of innate ability, and your edge represents knowing how to use what you have. Okay, and there's kind of a third sort of in there. It's called effort, and it kind of just ties into that concept a little bit. And this is when your character really needs to accomplish a task, you apply what's called effort. And I'm going to be going over that in just a moment. But let's dive into each of these. First, let's look at pool. So pool is like the most basic measurement of your stat. You can think of this kind of like the stat level, right? Someone with a might pool of 16 is stronger than someone with a might pool of 10. So it's just, what's your maximum, pool level, right? And it would be 16 or 10 in this case. But when you're attacked, your specific stat pool is going to be decreased based upon the type of damage you receive. And so like physical damage is going to decrease your might stat pool, okay? Poison is going to reduce your speed stat pool, and something like a mental blast will reduce your intellect pool, okay? And you have to rest to regain your lost points, which we're going to be going over at a later time. So, but you can get these points back. And you can also spend points from these 3 stat pools, to decrease a task difficulty. So it's called easing the difficulty. So if something has a difficulty of 4, well, you can spend you can spend some of your points to decrease that difficulty. And remember, that lowers your pool though, and which you're not going to get that back until you rest. And so it's kind of neat. I like the way they kind of throw all that stuff in there. Now, edge is when something requires you to spend points, something like some of the abilities require you to spend points, and like things when you do like effort, when you spend effort points, edge reduces this cost. Okay, so let's say an ability that you have requires you to spend 2 intellect pool. Well, let's say that you have an intellect edge of 1. Well, the cost would be reduced to just 1 for that ability. And now if you reduce it all the way down to 0, well, then there's no cost for that ability. So if you have a zero cost ability, you can just kind of do it at, as much as you want. So, and then finally, we kind of get down to effort. And when you really want to accomplish a specific task or something that's like very difficult, is coming up, you can choose to use effort to increase your chances. But you kind of have to do so before the roll. You can't go, oh crap, I made a bad roll, and then do it. No, you got to do it beforehand, right? And so you can choose to ease the task of 1 level by spending 3 of your stat points from your pool. Okay, so if you're trying to do something that's like strong, that's going to take your might, well then you'd spend 3 of your might pool to reduce the difficulty of that task by 1 level. Now, don't forget to subtract the cost from your edge in that stat as well to reduce the cost of that effort. So again, if you had 1 edge, then that would not cost you 3. Now it would only cost you 2. So it's kind of neat. They allow you to kind of manage your stat pools a little bit, and to be able to give more effort into a situation or a dice roll that is super important to you. So that's pretty cool. Let me check this stuff out over here. Let me make sure everything's going okay. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So now after we kind of understand those things, we can finally move over into character creation. Now, character creation is Get my screen up here. This is another one of those RPGs that I really feel kind of got the character creation section a little bit wonky. You really have to read the entire section of all classes and everything, and then go back to the beginning and start reading again and start filling out your character sheet to really tell what you want. Okay, so just go ahead and know that on the front end. It's not like, hey, I read this paragraph, I can go ahead and fill in this section. No, just read the whole chapter of character creation and then go back and you can start working on your character sheet. So, but I decided I'm going to do this the Logician Tim way, and the way that I think it should be done, not necessarily the way that the book tells us, because I think it's just a little bit less confusing. So, doing so, I'm going to start with talking about the character types that you can play. Okay, and there's 3 different character types, or you can think of them kind of like classes that you can start with. And you pick kind of like the general class you want, and then you can kind of customize that class a little bit from there. But there's 3 classes or 3 types, what they call a type. You can pick from, one is called Glaive, is Glaive. I hope I'm saying that right, Glaive. So you can be a Glaive, a Nano, or a Jack, okay? And each character has each character type has 6 tiers that you can kind of level up in, okay? And each time you level up in it, each one of these tiers is going to gain you more abilities and increase stats, making you stronger kind of as you go up these tiers. And so it's kind of cool. Now, what is a Glaive? So a Glaive is kind of like your warrior class, okay? These are the warriors of the Ninth World. And so they're going to use weapons and armor to fight their enemies. You know, these are the hunters and the guardians, the soldiers, the scouts, the warlords, the bandits. Those type of people all make for good Glaives. And so this is kind of any type of person that is skilled with weapons, as well as, you know, physical, like hand-to-hand martial arts or something like that. So this is like the best of those people. It's not, you know, if you just saw a guard standing there, he wouldn't necessarily be a Glaive, because this is kind of like an elite class of, you know, a guardian, you know. So this is the best of the best. And so most of the Glaives are either very strong using really heavy armor, or they're super fast using light armor. But you could, you know, kind of spec out your character to be a little bit of both. Now, these are Glaives are characters that usually, you know, kind of take the lead and then the front of the pack, right? Because they're the most durable and most ready to take on a fight. So if you're going to turn the corner and be, you know, face full of, you know, bad guy creatures, you want the Glaive to take that first hit and not the wimpy guy, probably like me, right? Now, they do use some of the Numenera or those kind of devices a little bit, but not quite as much as the other classes. They use it for anything that might aid them just in combat. So they look for things such as like armor or specialized ranged melee weapons that do all types of damage, like stunning or fire damage or shocking their enemies, something like that. That's the type of stuff that they look for. They could really care less about the other cool stuff they can do for the most part. So, so what's kind of neat is they have it where you pick one of the backgrounds. So you kind of figure out what they give you 3 type of backgrounds that you can pick from where your Glaive got their training or got their abilities, right? And so you can either get it from like intensive training, inborn traits, so kind of like you're born with it, or even biomechanical modification. And I think that's really cool. And each one of these kind of gives you this nice background story of, you know, how you got to be a Glaive. And they do that for each of these classes. And I think it's a really neat thing to do, because that's going to help you out in role-playing your character and kind of deciding maybe what some of the, you know, the awesome moments might be and maybe not so awesome moments might be. And so I think that's just really neat that they throw that in there. Then they also kind of talk a little bit about your advancement as well, and how your body is an ongoing project, you know, and how you're going to be always looking for that next skill and trying to hone the art of fighting. And they tell us what our stat pools are going to be, your starting stats, and then you get, you know, like I said, you get six additional points to divide among the stat pools as you wish. And then we kind of get to the tiers, and again, there's 6 tiers for each of these classes, right? Oh, what's up, Joe? Sorry, I'm just getting used to this chat, man. So yeah, man, good to see you, Joe, on Facebook. Good to see you, man. So when you start going over the tiers, everybody's going to start at tier 1, and it goes through and just kind of tells you what your effort is. So you're going to start out with effort 1. You have a might edge of 1, a speed edge of 1, and an intellect edge of 0. And it kind of tells you your combat prowess, how you might use ciphers, any type of Numenera that you might start with, or starting equipment. All that is going to be right here in these, right here in the starting section. Now, when you, it also has some of your combat abilities as well. So you can pick a couple of these combat abilities that you think would suit your character really well. And you can go ahead and take that from the beginning. And then you can kind of eventually get up to the second tier, third and fourth, and so on. And then they give this kind of a little bit of a background fact, which I thought was kind of neat. Like a specific fact that you can actually use a D20 to roll on if you want to, or you can just pick. And it just has a little bit to do with your background. Like, you can roll on one of these. It's a D20, so there's 20 choices. And maybe one of them might be you have no formal training. Your abilities come to you naturally, or maybe unnaturally. Maybe it could be you served as a caravan guard. A smattering of people in many cities and towns. So you know a bunch of people. So anyways, you can pick some of these backgrounds or roll on these backgrounds, and that's going to really help to shape out your character moving forward, and kind of just give your character just a little bit more flavor. So and I like these when they do these tables like this, that I can quickly roll on and just kind of see how that goes. Joe says, sorry, Tim, I missed your recent viz. No worries, Joe, man. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Joe, you just had a birthday too the other day, right, man? Happy birthday. Awesome. So yeah, that's kind of the Glaive is like your fighter guy, right? So then we kind of move on to Nano. This is another one of the character types, classes, if you will, that you can pick in Numenera. It's called the Nano. And this is sort of like your mage or your wizard or your sorcerer for the most part. And they're kind of seen as such with the people of the Ninth World. They're kind of scary to people. People don't understand them, right? So yeah, they're kind of like the sorcerer wizards. And the Nanos master kind of the mysteries of the past. They master these Numenera to such a degree that it seems like that they can perform miracles and magic. And so when everybody's looking at them and they're doing all this crazy stuff, it looks like they're performing magic and miracles. But what's really happening is they can tap into the Numenera to alter reality or learn things they otherwise couldn't know. And so they use what they call this esoteries, to perform things like spells or charms or enchantments, right? And so yeah, they can kind of cast these spells and stuff. It's kind of cool. So the Nano are your classes is your class that is intelligent, that's learned, that's insightful, right? They devote their time to learning more about the Numenera, and they're super well versed in the artifacts and leftovers from these previous worlds, right? So all Nanos know about the Numenera, and when the group comes across something interesting, then the Nano is going to be the first in line to have a crack at it to figure out what it is and what it does, right? Yeah, where's the Nano? Get them up here. We gotta figure out what this stuff is. And the same is true with their knowledge of creatures or anything else the group might run across. They just have this studied, well studied knowledge of the world, and they can say, oh, that's this type of animal or creature, and here's a little bit about it, right? And now, so they're not very buff, right? Because they're usually like, light armor or no armor wearing. And they tend to stay in the back of the action and really try to stay at range, trying not to get hit and using like powerful offensive ranged abilities to do damage to their enemies, right? So they kind of stand back, do damage from a distance, try not to get hit because they're the kind of more squishy of the three, right? And the Nano just sounds super duper cool to me. So really awesome. And of course you have your background that you can roll on with these as too. This kind of D20, background fact or whatever that they put in here for us. And I really, really dig these because you can just roll down in here and I can go, okay, well, your best friend is also a Nano. You and she share discoveries and secrets readily. So all of a sudden now I've got a best friend and I can kind of share stuff with and talk with when I'm in town or I'm around them. So it's kind of cool. And then of course you're going to get your different abilities based on your tiers, just like the rest of them. Yeah, you get six additional stat points to start with on nanos as well, that you can put wherever you want. The art in here is just amazing. And then finally, the third class that you get to, the final class that you get to, is called the Jack. You know, she's got the Jack, right? And so Jacks really are the explorers. They're really the proverbial jack of all trades, and that's kind of where they get their name. So they don't use just one skill or tactic exclusively, but they are incredibly resourceful in figuring out kind of the right tactic to use or the right tool for that specific job. They're really quick on their feet, and they're really resourceful, right? Almost like the MacGyver of the group. And so they are the Jacks. They're treasure hunters. They're also super charismatic, and so they tend to be, you know, they're the con artists and the rogues and the scouts and experts in just, you know, a bunch of different fields. And like I said, they're very charismatic, and they make great crafters and smiths and stuff like that, entertainers, engineers, leaders, and teachers. And what's cool about them is they can fight, you know, side by side with the Glaive, like in the battle, right? And also they can talk at length with the nanos. And so they have this great intellect and kind of this great durability as well, although they're not quite as good at either as the Glaive or the nano, right? So there really are no right or wrong places or roles or actions, you know, for the Jack. They can kind of do everything, you know, and it tells us they kind of excel at many assorted tasks like searching for clues or using diplomacy with the locals, or, you know, repairing broken gear and stuff like that. So you definitely want to have one around. They sound like they would be a great support class or type, and you would definitely want to have one in your group, it sounds like. So, and so now that you know the three different types of classes or character types, as they call them in Numenera, now we understand that we can go way back to the beginning and kind of start creating our character. Like I said, I'm doing it the Timbo way. I'm doing it Logician Tim way, the way I think it should be done. It's a lot more easier to understand this way for me anyways. And so what they want you to do is when you start off creating your character, they want you to create a simple statement which describes your character, okay? And this is a little silly, but this is what they want you to do. And it says that it's going to be in the format of this kind of sentence. I am adjective, noun, who verbs. Man, I don't miss English class a bit in high school, right? I am an adjective, noun, who verbs. Wow. So let's just say if we go back, and if you've picked a type or a class from earlier, either the Glaive, the Nano, or the Jack, then that is going to be your noun in this sentence. So if I want to play a Nano, my sentence would read right now, it would read, I am an adjective Nano who verbs, right? So now we need to go and fill in the other blanks, which is going to give me some of these abilities and other things for my character, as well as some role-playing cues as well. And so now I can kind of flip to this next section where they start talking about what they call descriptors, okay? And there's 12 different descriptors to choose from. So you can be charming, clever, graceful, intelligent, learned, mystical or mechanical, rugged, stealthy, strong, strong-willed, swift, or tough, okay? And so so each one of these comes with bonuses to your stat pools, along with some skills and abilities to choose from. It also gives you some inabilities as well, which are kind of like negative abilities and your initial link to your starting adventure. So these kind of like negative abilities kind of are like your character quirks a little bit. So that's going to help give you some role-playing cues. And also the initial link to the group is kind of like how do you fit in here with these other groups? Kind of how did you come to meet everybody, right? And that's all based upon these 12 descriptors. So if I'm a Nano and I pick clever as a descriptor, my sentence is now going to read, I am a clever Nano who verbs, right? Who what? Who does something, right? So I'm a clever Nano. We know that part. So yay, we're almost there. We're almost there. So we've just got one section left. So, and that moves us on to character focus. And again, this is going to start giving you some more abilities to choose from and some awesome things that you can do. And it's pretty neat. So there's 12 I did the 12 descriptors. We're talking about focus. Now, focus is what makes your character like truly unique. And so you really don't want to have any other character in the group that has the same focus as you. Okay, so everybody really wants to pick their own focus. All right. This is going to give you benefits when you create your character, as well as every time that you would kind of ascend to that next tier in your class or your type, your character type, you're going to get new benefits as well. So it's really important to make sure kind of everybody has their own focus. Okay. And there's a ton of them. And again, this one also provides, a connection to one or more of the other people in your group. And it kind of helps to build unique relationships with others. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But the different type of foci or focuses are like bears a halo of fire, or controls beasts, or controls gravity, hunts, murders, rages, rides the lightning. All these types of things. Talks to machines. All these types of things are the different types of focuses that you have. And each one comes with their own unique abilities. Like bears a halo of fire means that you have like these fire powers. And so you can actually, like when you get mad, you can kind of like see flames shooting out, and you can do fire damage to things, all types of cool stuff. And you can get minor and major effects from it as well. And then it's also going to tell you, like I said earlier, about kind of your connection to people of the group. And so if let's go with this bears a halo of fire focus, I would have to choose from one of the following, like pick one other PC. And you would say, through a quirk of fate, your fire cannot harm that character. So that would be just a relationship that me and that person have. Or maybe another one would be, you burn this character by accident and they still have a scar, right? And so you'd pick some of these type of things that give you a relationship to the other players in the group that you can, yeah, man, I still remember that scar, asshole, right? And so so it just seems like it would add to the role-playing fun of it all. So it sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. So so let's say... Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these. What is it, like maybe 15, 20 of these at least. But let's just say I picked the bears a halo of fire, right? So finally, my sentence would now read, I am a clever nano who bears a halo of fire, all right? And so this would tell another player, okay, he's got the clever descriptor, right? So he's got these couple abilities, and then bears a halo of fire, can do these type of things. And this kind of becomes your descriptive sentence for your character. And I think that's pretty cool that they did that. It's a little cheesy, to be honest, but you can write that on your sheet, and you kind of be able to tell pretty quickly sort of what type of character that is. I'm a clever nano who bears a halo of fire. Yeah, that was that class. Yeah, that was that game. So anyways, yeah, it's a little cheesy, but I think it does the job. And just know that for each one of these focus things they give us, there's a ton of information. So they didn't skimp out on it. So that, like this control beast, that's how much information is just on that one right there. Controls gravity. I mean, so this is really going to make your character seem very specialized and very powerful in this one area, right? And so I really like the way that they did this. So they spent a lot of time on this. Now, what they did not do is spend much time in skills. And so let me skip back here to the skills section. They have, maybe 20 or so skills just kind of listed out for us here, but there's no real skill list. And so it's really kind of up to you to pick your skills and kind of allow the talk with the GM about what your skills are and what those are going to be. Because you're only going to get a handful of them at one time anyway. So, and you can only be 2 levels in it, either trained or specialized. So skills are not as big of a deal as a lot of your other abilities and things, from what I can understand. So yeah, that's about it. Now we do have the equipment section. Let me get to this. So when you're done with your character, kind of finally getting your character creation, you're going to start with your equipment. Now, depending on your character type that you picked, or like the class. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Come on, Tim, sneeze. Not gonna do it. Nope. All right, rune sneeze. All right, so depending on your character type or your class, then you're going to be given a certain amount of starting money, and they call it shins, like the shin on your leg, or the shins, the band. I like the shins. So you're going to start off with a certain amount of shins or money to start off with, along with your starting equipment. So that's all based in your character type. So your You're going to know if you're a glaive, you're going to start off with this much equipment. You know, here's your items and all this kind of stuff, and here's your shins. And then you can buy additional equipment with any money that you have there. So I think a glaive starts off with like 8 shins. So not very much money. So, and you can kind of go through this equipment section and pick some of the stuff, either weapons or armor or special equipment, things that, you know, such as bags or compass, things like that, globe, and things of that nature. And you can just kind of, you know, round out your character before you hit the road, you know. But that's really about it for character creation in Numenera. Now, depending on your character, no. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's about it for character creation in Numenera. And I really feel like some of this was a little bit overcomplicated. It was definitely like mix and match. I had to kind of, like I said, I had to read the whole thing and then kind of flip back and forth a few times. But let me show you really quickly on, do I have this up? Let me see if I can show you real quick on the character sheet. Here we go. On the character sheet, let's see if this comes in okay. Yeah, here we go. You can see a little bit here, maybe. No. Yeah. You can see that they have kind of like a character creation walkthrough on the character sheet. Now, you definitely need to read the chapter very well, and then you can kind of start going through this character creation walkthrough. But it's kind of a nice deal where they have kind of like these different points on the page marked off for us, so that we can tell what part of the section that they're looking at. So they do have that for us to make it a little bit easier, because it is a little bit of a complicated one. So Joe says, as a game designer and writer, I'm definitely going to have a go at creating one of these types of RPG books in the future. The sheer challenge of it excites my creativity. Think I'm going to set mine in present day, with the twist being that a billionaire has created a treasure hunt and anyone can enter. I like that. And can use all means possible to find the treasures. Scratch his chin. Yeah. I like that, Joe, man. It sounds awesome. Hook up with me. I'll help you make it. I think it sounds awesome, dude. So, yeah, that's it for me tonight. If you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and throw them down into the chat. If you're watching this back later, throw them down into the comment section. I'm always notified of that. And I do my best to get back to you as fast as I can. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're on there. Hit that little heart button on top if you're on Twitch, and give me a follow. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm just trying out this restream thing. So if you're just tuning in, I'm streaming to Facebook, my private page, Facebook on Misfits of Tabletop group, and to Twitch and to YouTube. And yeah, you can find me all those places. Just look up Logician Tim and you will find me. So I appreciate you all tuning in, and we will see you all on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye.